Hi everyone, welcome back to the third tutorial. Last time at the second tutorial we talked about, as a recap, if-else statements. We also talked about while loops and for loops. As a quick summary, if-else is pretty simple, mostly because we use it so often in our language. For example, let's say that the name had a value called Bob. So we can save that, and then if name is Bob, we can let Python print out the statement, hello Bob, nice to meet you. However, if the name is not Bob, we can have the computer say hello Bob, or hello stranger, intruder alert, or something. And when we run this, because the name is Bob, we know that that's going to print out, hello Bob, nice to meet you. So that's an example of an if-else statement. While loop, let me show you again a demonstration of this. If spam had a value of 0, let me just run this real quick. And while spam is less than 5, we want it to print out, you can eat one more can. And then make sure that this while loop again is going to continue on and on until you create a breaking point for this, which is the variable spam should increase by 1, so that spam is eventually increased until it gets to 5. So when we run that, it prints out, you can eat one more can 5 times. So that's an example of a while loop. And finally, for loop is where you have a specified number of how many times you want it to run. So for example, for I in range 0 to 10, we want it to print out each of the ranges, within the ranges, what the I will be that many times. So we can print this out, and we see that this prints out all the values from 0 to 9. And remember that Python is exclusive, so the last number here is going to be exclusive, meaning that it's not going to be included within the printing statements for where the variable will be I. Alright, cool. And for this, now we can move on to this tutorial, which will be on list, tuples, and dictionaries. So initially, for the first two tutorials, we mostly talked about single variables at a time. So assigning one, for example, having one specific value. But for lists and tuples and dictionaries, they'll all have different amount of variables contained inside. So list, you can just think of it as many values contained in it. And here, let me just write the examples of what list is. It is contained inside these square brackets right here. And list values inside the list are mutable, meaning that they are changeable, which actually comes really useful, which I will cover later, because this is one of the difference between list and tuples, because tuples, the value inside, are not mutable, meaning that they cannot be changed. So let me give you an example of a list. So let's start with cats, and cats' names are gonna be Bo, Tay, and let's say Snyder. So these are the cat name. We want to run it, and you can pick these values out based on the position of where these are located. So in Python, I know in common sense you would think that Bo would be index 1, but in Python it actually starts at 0. So if we type in cats and then bracket 0, because Python starts at 0 for the index, we can expect that to print out Bo. And these can be different indexes, so cats square bracket 2 would print out Snyder. But if you put a number inside that bracket that's not contained, then you're gonna get an error message, list index out of range. Alright, oh, let me go back to that actually. So let me give you an example. And I said that lists are changeable, so you can even make changes to this. So cats, if you do cats append, this lets us add in any values that we want. So let's say we want to add, we got a new cat named Jason. If we run that and print out cats after that, let me show you what we get. So add in the list of cats, the name Jason, and then print out what cats show, and you can see that Jason was added to that inside that list. So you can do append, or you can even do something called insert, and insert gives you the option to put a specific name in whatever order you want. So imagine that you want to put this Jason, or I guess the new name, let's say, will be Tom, and you want to put that in the beginning, so you would place 0 in right after insert, and let me print out cats as well to see if it did indeed do that, and you can see that Tom is now the beginning of the value in that list. So that's really useful. You can even use list in combination with the for loop. So for I in cats, print I, and when you run this, you get all the names contained within that list. So you get Tom, Bo, Tay, Snyder, and Jason. So you see the interplay between having list and for loops, the loops that come in that we learned at the last tutorial. Alright, and that covers it for list, and now we'll talk about tuples. So tuples are, let's see, they are contained within these parentheses now, and like I said, they are not mutable. Let's say values are not mutable, meaning they can't be changed once you set them. So tuples can be seen very similar to the list, it's just that there's that one difference of mutability. Alright, let me show you a demonstration of tuple. A tuple can be something like, let's see, I guess it could be like months even, and they're contained within parentheses. So let's have January, February, March. Actually, let's say it's the early months, because I want to do a demonstration of what I mean when tuples are not mutable. So let's say early months. So this is the tuple for the months, and let's just print it out real quick on the console. Alright, cool. So this was created. And remember when I said tuples are not mutable, so let's pretend that we wanted to add in some of the later months like April. Actually, let's keep it abbreviated for consistency. So here I'll add APR. So early months, and then append it like we did in list, and put in the April. And do you guys think this will run? Let's just find out. No, it did not run, because again, tuples, once you set them, they won't be changed. So you get an attribute error that says tuple object has no attribute append, because they don't have that characteristic to be changed at all. So we have to make sure that to solve this, if you wanted to add other months, we actually have to create another tuple. So let's say later months, and define it like April, May, and June. And if we run this, we can try adding these two now separately into, let's say, let's just say half months, and add it that way, and it will work. So as long as you're adding these after creating into separate tuples, you can add them, you just can't do it using some of the characteristics that we use for lists like inserts or append. So that's a limitation, and that's why I don't see tuples being often used in programming, but again, there must be some reasons that people do use it, because it is one of the types available or I guess the object types available for use. Alright, finally let's go on to dictionary. So dictionaries actually contain two values. So list and tuples had just one variable contain. It had many values, but it was all independent. So let's type in values are independent. Meanwhile, for dictionaries, it contains kind of a key value pair. So what does that mean? So let me give you an example of a dictionary. So it could be, let's say, birthdays. So let's say Tom has a birthday of Jan 4. Oh. And make sure you put single quotation mark or double quotation mark inside the dictionary. So Tom would constitute a key here, and then the Jan 4th, which is the birthday of Tom, would be the associated value. So you have two related things that come together. So key value pair come together. So this is useful. This can get very useful, especially when we're working with JSON objects and web APIs. Alright, so let's do other names as well. So let's make up Tay, give that person October 12th, and let's do one more. Let's do Anne and give it April 1st. Alright, so let's run this. Alright, great. And let me do an example real quick. So key value in enumerate birthdays. Just want to make sure that this works before explaining the reasoning behind this. Okay, perfect. So like I said, for dictionaries, you have a key and a value pair. So when you're doing a for loop for this, you need two I guess substitutes. So you say for key, so just key right here for key, and then value, and then enumerate means that you're getting the index and the key of that object. Oh, hold on, let me actually do another example. So actually, let's do a project. Alright, given this, I'm gonna create a quick demonstration of how to use dictionaries in real life coding. So let's say that we wanna create a program where it guesses people's birthdays, and if not, save the birthdays for names not listed. Alright, so let's start with while true, print, have the user print out or type in, enter name, and enter blank to exit. So like I said, while loops, it would keep on going on and on, so we have to put a stop to it, and we can either do that by, if it was a numeric, it'd be easier because we can just make sure it adds 1 at the end, but for strings that's a bit harder, so let's put in something where if we put in blank, if the user puts in blank, it exits the program automatically. So if name equals blank, then have the program break, so it would stop going back into while loop and just completely shut down, which is what we want if the user is tired of this program. And let's see, let's create another enter and say if name is in birthdays. So name being any of these right here. If name is in the birthday, we wanted to print out the birthday of that name. So that birthday is that date is the birthday of, and then make sure it contains the name as well. However, if name is not in birthday, then we want the program to, let's see, print out a warning message. I do not have the name. I do not have that name. When is your birthday? And then we want the user to put in the birthday, so have input parentheses. and then we can revise. So for now, with the new birthdays, we want that to be contained within the dictionary for that particular new name. And then we can say at the end that the birthday was updated. Alright, great. So I hope that made sense. I can definitely show you what I did here by running this program, and hopefully it works. Alright, so let's start with some of the, oh, hold on. If name equals, do not have the name. Print, I do not have the name. When is your birthday? Okay, I see the mistake. So we have to make sure that we keep it consistent. So I named it birthdays. So make sure that these are all birthday variables. So birthdays. Alright, and let me try that again. Oh, it's because I had named Bob here. Alright, let me actually delete all this. Alright, and start on a clean plate. Alright, let me run that. Name is not defined. Blank. We have to make sure the name is inputted by the user. Okay. Alright, now it should work. Alright, enter name. So let's put in a name where, actually let's put in a name, or I guess a blank, to see if it does exit the program. So enter blank to exit. So I'm entering, and yep, you can see that it exited the program. Now let's see what happens if we enter a name that is contained within the dictionary. Let's say Tom, and we get January 4th is the birthday of Tom. Okay, perfect, exactly what we wanted. And finally, let's put in if the name is not within the birthday dictionary. Let's say a name like Chris. And you can see the program prints out, I do not have that name. When is your birthday? And let's say it's say February 2nd. And it says birthday was updated. Great. And it has that, and the program has this program do, I guess, this command run constantly until the user enters blank to exit this entire thing. But if it doesn't get that instruction, then it's going to keep on running this and running this. And I guess that's a good way to update all the names, but it might get repetitive and there might be a limitation to how many names you can think of and you want to save onto your dictionary. Alright, great. So I think that covers everything that I wanted to for this. So again, let's go over some of the stuff we learned. So we learned about tuples, lists, and dictionaries. So tuples, remember, are contained within parentheses and are immutable, meaning that they're not changed often. So we don't see them being used. Well, I haven't used them often, but maybe other programmers have. We have something called lists, which are contained in square brackets, and they are mutable. And tuples and lists have single, or not single, but more like independent values contained inside either the square brackets or the parentheses. But dictionaries actually work as a key value pair. So they contain both one value and has an attached or associated another associated value with them. So that can come in handy sometimes, especially like I said with JSON files or web APIs. And that's about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial as well. Thank you. Bye.